Hi, I'm Paul Grenier. This is Whiskey and Wood, bringing the people, the stories, and the success to you. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and these guys and gals are out to get a piece of it. Why Whiskey and Wood? Why not? Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Whiskey and Wood. Obviously this is a very special one. We are on site today at Lashway Lumber in Williamsburg, Massachusetts. And for this very special episode, we're drinking a very special whiskey. So the last couple episodes I was drinking a Jameson. This year we have a Jameson 8-year. This year. Today we have a Jameson 8-year. 18 years. Retake. For this episode, we have a special whiskey. We have a Jameson 18-year. Very good. So
it's a good one.
Yeah.
Very excited.
And we have Larry Lashway himself. So
cheers.
Cheers.
Delicious.
Very good. So, Larry, this is, as you can see in the background, Larry has a few kilns here. He has 2 turbo minis. He has an iDRY Plus. So this is the dream for a lot of guys. They see this, they're like, how do I get to there? And I can tell you, and I'm sure Larry can tell you, it's a lot of work. And yeah.
Didn't happen overnight, but with the help of you guys and some hard work, we got here.
Yeah, so this is, we are at Lashway Lumber, which is one of the 3 branches under their brand, which is Mill River Slab Works and Ponders Hollow, which is their milling shop.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell me a little bit. Let's start at the beginning. This is a family-run business.
Yes. This is a 4th generation family business. My great-grandfather started it back in 1954. And for 3 generations, all it was a sawmill, like an industrial circle sawmill. And then when the 4th generation started, myself and my brother kind of got in the family business. My father came to us one day and said, hey, let's try something new. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's, let's think outside the box. Let's just not be the typical sawmill. So we started Ponders Hollow.
Yeah, that's the, so Ponders Hollow, they're located right down the road. Is it the same town? Or is it
No, they're in Westfield, Massachusetts, which is about 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
We're in Williamsburg, Mass.
So if you ever get a chance to go in there, you'll see some super high-end. You guys do a lot of trim and molding and flooring. And we did the factory tour. They keep all of their blades that they cut because they will cut custom blades for different molding applications. They keep them forever in case you need another piece, but it is a awesome place to go visit. I highly recommend it. And yeah, so let's get back to Lashway Lumber. You guys are cutting mostly commodity items. And
yeah, like our niche market around here is that industrial wood. We do like the bridges, the subways, the sewers, the trench boxes. That's what we have been doing for 4 generations pretty much. So, and that's what we continue to do.
I'm guessing you have a lot of trucks that go into Boston and there's a lot of construction happening.
Yeah, so we try to do one trip into Boston every day and 1 trip into New York every day.
Yeah. And it's crazy to me having a sawmill because we are kind of getting closer to the city, having a sawmill in this area. Like you are limited a little bit by space. You can't get much bigger.
Yeah, especially absolutely, especially here in Massachusetts. It's not an easy nut to crack, and that's why we've changed what we do. I mean, that's why we added Ponders Hollow, because we feel that if we don't change, we won't be around.
Yeah.
And then this last year, Mill River Slab Works. It's absolutely very excited. It's our new venture. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Mill River Slab Works, you are taking really cool pieces of wood like this that normally wouldn't make it through the sawmill process and making furniture and slabs, and have a new retail shop set up. And I think you guys choosing to go that route says a lot about diversification, because I've noticed, I used to work consulting dairy farms in Vermont, and the smaller and medium-sized dairy farms, it became really hard to survive off a commodity item, because your only option to make more money is to get bigger, and when you're limited in how big you can get, you have to start adding other revenue streams.
And that's where we started with my father. When we started Ponders Hollow, we decided, let's take that next step. Let's work smarter, not harder. Let's try to do a value-added product as to just more of the same product.
Yeah, that's and you bought a vacuum kiln way back in the day, or I would say your father did. I heard a little bit about that story.
Yes.
It was a surprise to you, possibly.
It was completely a surprise, and to be honest, it wasn't. I wasn't a big fan of it when it first came, and more because I actually liked working really hard, and I thought we should get bigger. I thought that go big or go home theory should be what we live by. And my father had a little more experience than I did, and he thought we should again work a little smarter, not so hard. Which since then I've bought into it, and I believe more and more. And if you spent a week here and saw what we put inside these kilns, you would probably shake your head. We do the things that nobody else wants to do, because we've done it all by now. So back in 2009, it was when my father bought the first vacuum kiln, and we just started Ponders. And my father had this theory that, again, at an industrial sawmill, why are we buying a vacuum kiln? It didn't really make much sense to me.
Yeah.
But he had this dream, this idea that with vacuum drying, the speed and the quality that comes out of it, that we could cut down a tree today, saw it tomorrow, dry it in the next couple of days, and have it over to Ponders Hollow by the end of the week, and we could literally cut to order.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's funny to me is your father took this chance, and he saw the vision of doing that, and through that, you kind of became, I would say, you are one of the world experts on vacuum drying. You've been around it, you really learn the process, and you've dried more exotic wood than I would say 90% of the people in the world. You've dried for pretty much all the major guitar manufacturers. They trust to send their stuff to you. So how does that, you've gone from somebody who was like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't want to dry, and now you really are a go-to person.
Yeah, it actually started back when my father had the idea, and he's really good at having that idea. And then luckily for me, or unluckily for me, the way it works is he passes the idea down. Like, hey, I got this idea, make it work. And it didn't work 100%, because it's hard to saw today and keep your log inventories as to lumber inventories per order. So it didn't work out what he had his dream to do, because logs stain, logs get old, and what they sell for that flooring is not always what we have here. So we realized we have to have a lumber inventory. So not the same concept. So I was kind of scratching our head and trying to figure out what to do with this kiln at that point, and I got a call. It was actually from Jim Parker, the owner of iDRY, and he said, hey, Larry, I got this idea. And I'm like, absolutely. What is the idea? Before he even gave me the idea, I'm like, let's do it. Let's go. And he said, I have these guitar parts. Somebody's having a hard time drying them. Would you try drying them? And that's where it all started. Like that day and then I just, from being a small sawmill in Western Mass, sawing 2x4s, 3x8s, all this industrial wood, to looking at a guitar or talking to one of these unbelievable companies and being like, wow, we're doing something different. The business we're in, nobody ever tells us we're doing a good job when we deliver a load of planking. Nobody tells us a good job. But as soon as we got into this next step market, like these guitar parts, and then from there, it snowballed. I mean, it's been pretty wild trip.
Yeah, it is something about being tied to something that's making a musical instrument that goes out and, you know, with your guitar, something that came out of your kiln could possibly be seen by hundreds of thousands of people on stage. It just feels different than cutting a 2x4 that's going to end up in the wall. You know,
It is absolutely, like I say, I've met some unbelievable people, been all around the country with these guitar parts, where if we never did start that one business, my father never buying that first kiln, again, we're a believer, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If we don't try, we're always going to fail. So by him taking the chance of buying this vacuum kiln, even though what his dream was didn't work out, we've made it work, and it's been awesome.
It's not always the dream you have, but if you have the courage and you're willing to work, the vision might change over time, but if you're adaptable, I'm a firm believer you can always make it work. And as these 4 kilns behind us, you guys,
and one outside, the new one outside,
the new iDRY Air, which you guys have been drying some softwood in the iDRY Air.
Yeah. It's I like to call it the dream team. I got the dream team right now of kilns. We have 4 vacuum kilns in the one air, so I have five iDRYs.
Yep.
And depending on what we get in and what I'm doing and what I'm looking for, I'm very lucky. I get to mix and match, and sometimes I use one as a pre-dryer and finish off on another. And you
have the most versatile kiln setup. You have plate dryers, 2 plate dryers, a non-plate dryer vacuum kiln, and then iDRY Air. So
you get 2 non.
Yes, that's right. 2 non-plate dryers, 2 plate dryers, and an iDRY Air. So you guys can pretty much cover it all here.
And it gives me that opportunity to still do what we need to dry. But it also gives me the opportunity when somebody calls me and is like, "Can you dry this?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Let's try it. Let's go."
And so let's get to, Mill River Slab Works is a pretty new venture.
Yes. It was about a year and a half we've been open. It's pretty incredible. For years, through the vacuum kilns, we dried slabs for a lot of different people, whether they're exotic or domestic. And then we decided one day, why are we drying for everybody else? Why don't we do this? And this was something, again, we sat down and said, let's try it. Why not? So we invested a little bit more money, a little bit more time, and started a retail store. And now we're up to 3 retail stores.
Yes, that's crazy. So year and a half, they've had their one main retail store, which I've spent some time there. This we actually stole the lobby of their retail store to bring it in here. So thank you for the team for doing that for us.
So usually the chairs and the table isn't in front of the kilns. This is kind of a special day here.
It is. But yeah, so I love spending time at the slab shop. I've spent a lot of time there. I've seen a lot of customers come in, and one day I was there. 5 people came in looking for mantles. You have a great display of mantles, and you have a couple people making furniture, which seems like a big part of your business.
It actually is, and again, we adapt and change all the time. When we first had this idea of a slab business in selling slabs, we're like, okay, we can dry the wood. Like, we're really good at drying wood. We're really good at sawing wood. Like, it's no brainer. We saw, we dry, we sell slabs. And we opened the store, and within like the first month, we're like, this isn't kind of what we thought it was. The slabs aren't like, not just selling thousands of slabs. And with 5 kilns, we can make thousands of slabs. Like, it is, like, the kilns never stop. They never shut off. We never wait. Like, if there is not wood going in the kiln, I have a problem. That falls back on myself. So we realized very quickly that people want more of maybe the next step. What does the average person do with a rough slab? So then we started, so every slab now, whether you want us to make a piece of furniture or not, every slab through all 3 retail stores are kiln dried, vacuum kiln dried, which is awesome. We won't sell a non-vacuum kiln dried product here. and it is leveled and sanded. So everything you buy, it doesn't leave our facility without being leveled and sanded.
Yes, and we will show clips, but the sanding machine that they have, I don't know if that's called a sanding machine. I'm going with it. This thing will chew up huge slabs, flatten them, and you're getting slabs at, what is it, 180 grit right from...
Straight through, sand it, and so everything that goes over to one of the 3 retail stores, Mill River Slab Works, Brooklyn Slab Works, or White Timber Slab Works, every slab is sanded up to 180 grit.
It's flattened and sanded. Think of that from a time savings. If you're a contractor and you've got a project to build a table, having it sanded to 180 grit. Even more importantly, a Joe Schmo like me who went to Home Depot and got a palm sander and made himself a desk and have no clue what I'm doing, it is so easy. And it's by far the coolest piece of furniture I have in my house. And it's just a big chunk of walnut with some really cool figure in it. And that's what it's all about. And
yeah, we realized, fortunately or unfortunately, there's this whole like Facebook marketplace thing going on right now. Everybody's selling slabs cheap on Facebook Marketplace. And we usually get in our area, we get people coming in every week. How can you fix this? And the way I explain it is you just paid $100 for a piece of firewood. It was undried. You bought a piece of wood. Now it's cupping, curling, twisting. You still probably had bugs in that piece of wood. Who knows? It's the unknown. I mean, who wants to spend money, put time, energy into an unknown piece of furniture? Mm-hmm. When you buy it from us, or
Yeah, it's going to look that way. The wood needs to be stable, and people are starting to get burned by these good deals. If you save $200 on the front end, and you spend all this time falling in love with a piece of table, with a piece of furniture, and then you bring it in your home and it cracks and splits, is it worth the $200 savings in that front end? Probably not. So yeah, we like to, and your team likes to make sure it's bug free and it's stable.
Absolutely. We don't go after, and this is what we realize very quickly, is we don't want one sale. Like, we don't want you to buy like that one time, because, and that's where these places, they only want to sell it to you one time because they know you're never going to come back again. Mm-hmm. We want that person that says, hey, you built me a table, now I want a mantle. Or I'm thinking about doing a building. I want a bookshelf. I want a countertops in my house. I mean, we want some live edge slabs, some floating shelves. And we're realizing that's the customer. We want people to tell people that this is awesome. This place is amazing. We want to store carbon forever. We want that piece that you hand down to your kids.
And we saw a news article with you. It was a local church that had a tree. They talked about this old tree that was in their front, and that's where they did all their, you could tell a story a little bit better.
Yeah, so it was in this church in this local town. Again, I get a call one day, and they're like, we have this big tree. And what I have, my first response to anybody that tells me they have this big tree, I'm like, okay, how big is it? Like, usually it's about a 24-inch tree, and I'm like, it's not that big. But this thing was a monster. It was this 58-inch beech tree, 60-inch, something like that. This monster beech tree that the beeches are all now dying in our state. There's a disease coming on the beach. And they didn't want to wait till the tree was dead. They wanted to get on the front end and do something with it. Why waste it? And we're a big believer in is nature. Nature is amazing and in so many different ways. And then sometimes we don't understand nature. Why this thing's coming through and killing this beautiful tree. But if it is, let's do something with it. Let's make something that we can put back into the church. And when we first started, they had no idea. They just didn't want it to go to waste. Yeah. So my initial phone call is, absolutely, we can do something for you. But we're going to give you something back. They wanted to know what it was worth. So we paid them what it was worth. But we actually made 3 slabs to go back into the church.
That's awesome. And they had an emotional attachment to this tree, looking at the news article. And they had farmers markets regularly on the property. And that's where they'd set up musicians underneath the tree. So, it is amazing the emotional connection that we get to these pieces of wood that we live around, and really old growth, cool stuff. And you won't see wood like this anywhere else. So another thing I want to touch on, you guys are doing some cool things at Mill River where you guys are having charcuterie nights and different events to get people in the community in.
Again, 4 generations in the business. And I have a son and a daughter, and my brother has a son and 2 daughters. And when you're a generational business, we always think about the next generation. It's not the typical business. Again, that's why we want that repeat customer. We're not just here today, gone tomorrow. We really take pride in how can we make our business that not only can our children make a living at it, but how can we make it that they want it? Let's make it fun and exciting. Something that they're like, hey, Dad, we can't wait to be part of the family business. So we try to not only make it fun, but we try to educate the public. Unfortunately, there's this big myth out there that like we are clear cutting the forests. We're not clear cutting the forest. It doesn't happen in New England. We have very strict cutting practices. So we have these charcuterie nights. We have a great time, a lot of laughs, and then we try to educate a little bit and explain why what we do is a little bit different than other people.
Yeah, and I think that's good because people will come in and they'll make a charcuterie board, they'll buy one, they'll see that they are crafty and they can make something cool, and then maybe the next time they'll come in and they'll want to take on a bigger project, a floating shelf or an entryway table. And it's a great way to get new people into this urban look. Now, woodworking is the #1 hobby in the world, by the way. It is. Everybody either wants to do it or is doing it. And it's a great way to get people involved, I think.
Yeah, it is amazing. And that's one thing we see. And it's unbelievable. Like when we started Mill River Slab Works, we didn't even know what to expect. We didn't know what we needed. And it was amazing. The 2 guys that run the place over there, absolutely amazing. Josh and Doug, unbelievable. And what's amazing is they found us. Yeah. Like we weren't really looking for them. They are the guys that, this is their passion. They came in and said, we love this place. We want to be a part of this place. We want to work here. And it was literally, for us, it was no-brainers. It's amazing when somebody comes in and asks to work there. And the more you love it, the more of a passion you have for it, the better they do. And they've literally changed our business over there. Like, we thought we were selling slabs, and now between Josh and Doug, we're making one-of-a-kind furniture.
Beautiful.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I highly recommend. If you're in Westfield, it is in Westfield, right?
It's in Westfield, yep.
Yeah, if you're ever in Westfield, they have a nice billboard. Stop in and see some of the furniture that's being built. Get inspired to maybe make something on your own. And you know, another thing that I wanted to make sure to talk about when I was interviewing you is building a brand. Because what you guys have done between all 3 brands, there's a cohesiveness. Of course, there's your beautiful logo. But I feel like I can walk into the Ponders showroom and the Mill River, and it feels uniquely your brand. Even if I didn't see your logo, it feels like your brand. The colors, the classiness of the design and the decor.
It is. We're so proud of it. For one, we're proud of our brand. Where again, you take a generation ago, when my father and my grandfather were in business, it was different. And times have changed. I mean, now everything's social media. How do we get the brand out there? How do we get how many likes? How many views? And my brother Jerry, he's got that vision. Like he that's what he brought. Like that's what he brings. It's amazing. Like I feel like I'm the guy that I get shit done. Like I'm just gonna say it. Like that's what I do. Somebody gives me the project, and I will die trying to do it. Like I get shit done. Just throw it on my plate and I'll find a way to do it. But that's what I'm good at. Jerry is amazing at like, okay, Larry, slow down. Let's get our ducks in a row. Let's get that brand out there. Let's make each business individual, but all the family. And then my father brings that like, hey, I got this idea. I think it's really cool. And usually my number one thing is like, Dad, it's not going to work. And literally I'm like, okay, this was really good. Great idea, Dad. I got it done, like something. And I guess I feel like one more thing on my plate. What I got more can I do? But after we do it, that's actually what gives me the drive that again, he bought one vacuum kiln and now we got 4 vacuums in an air. I mean, how much more can I put on my plate?
It's crazy.
I actually can't wait to tell you one day, Paul, hey, we need another one.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It is, and I would like to, maybe one day we can get Jerry and Jerry Sr. on this, because it is the dream team. You guys are different characters. And I would say, if I had to count, you're the bull and ram guy. You're sick in the head. You cut wood all day, and then you don't want to sit around the house, so you come and cut slabs for fun. This guy's sick in his head. He got sawdust in his, and Jerry is very straight-laced, focused, calculated. He knows how to build the brand. He's like, so between the two of you guys together, you guys both grew up in this industry, but all you guys together make quite a team. And really, so you guys are kind of creating a franchise, so to speak. Are we calling it a franchise? What do we call it?
I don't know. It's pretty hard to explain.
Yes.
I like to think it as a franchise because you think of franchise. I also like to, I don't know if I use franchise. I feel that we're getting people to be part of our family. And when we're doing Brooklyn Slab Works or White Timber Slab Works, I explain to the people we're bringing in, you're not buying this. This isn't something. You're becoming part of it. We are a family. And my son actually, again, he's 18. He talks about the business, and it's not the same, but I think it's funny the way he thinks about it. He thinks about it like Yellowstone. He watches Yellowstone. Like that Yellowstone brand. Like he's like, hey, Dad, they're using the brand here. Can we trust them? I'm like, absolutely, LJ. Like we find people part of the family. Like they're part of us now. Like, and he's like, we're gonna have to leave the brand one day. I'm like, no, we're good. Like that Yellowstone mentality, like very proud. We try to do that. So I don't know if the franchise.
Yeah.
We're welcoming people into our family.
Yep. And I think the difference between a franchise and what you're doing is you give them a little bit of freedom to sell what works in their area, to build what works in their area. But essentially you guys are allowing people to purchase large quantities of slabs at a really good price.
Yeah.
On what do we call it? Commission?
On consignment to start. We're doing a couple of different things. And we have, which it's all these pieces of the puzzle. And I always think if times change every day, like literally, we talk about it literally daily. Like, what are we going to do different? And fortunately for us, fortunately for me, my brother has found some amazing people. He found Jamie, which is part of like the whole marketing. And again, that's not me. Like I'm not the marketing. I'll take a picture of myself and put it on my story of me cutting slabs because that's my stress reliever. If I didn't cut slabs, I'd probably drink bourbon every night. So I try to keep the bourbon down to a couple nights a week. So slabs is my stress reliever. But by the marketing, and again, one more step, changing the business, I can actually cut slabs every night and sell them. I don't have a million slabs around here and be like, oh, Dad, Jerry, what did I do? What am I going to do with all these things? We're moving them. And it's that piece of the puzzle where we're...
So it makes a good team, right? Everybody has different skill sets coming together makes a good team.
Yeah.
If everybody thinks the exact same way at the table, you got to get more people at your table because that's how you get stagnant and you don't change. You need somebody to push you and challenge you and maybe think in a different direction or think outside the box. And I'm proud to say where we work at iDRY, we all feel that we have that. We can all meet at the table. We'll try to poke enough holes in the idea to make sure it's not a dumb idea. And if we can't, we'll run with it. And that's how you evolve. That's how you adapt. That's how the iDRY air was invented, which is here working, which is super cool to see it in action. So it's,
I have a great friend, like one of my best friends ever. And he says, if you always agree with your partner, one of you isn't needed. So if we're always thinking the same way, what are we going to do? Like without that, and believe me, here at Lashway Lumber, we have those like you say, I'm a bull. Like I'm pretty stubborn in a lot of ways, and we don't argue, we discuss. Sometimes the discussions get a little loud, but we discuss and we come to a conclusion, and then we never dismiss it. We stew on it, and then usually the next day we're like, okay, that was, I'll either say that was a great idea, or somebody else will say, maybe you're right. Maybe we should do something a little bit different. Maybe your idea is better, or maybe it's a mixture between the two ideas.
Yep, hybrid. It's a good. See, look, that's a good model for our country right now, Larry. Different views, chew it over, sleep on
it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. No matter what's happening today, tomorrow something different's going to happen, and let's work as hard. We can do what we think today, but tomorrow let's keep that open mind and make sure we realize it's not the end of the world. We make bad decisions. In making bad decisions, sometimes it's our best decisions. You think it's going to be the end of the world, and it costs money to go to school. Like again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I'm a big believer in motivational speakers, and it's the thing about Michael Jordan. You always hear about all the game-winning shots he took, but it doesn't tell you about all the shots he took that he lost the game.
And that is important that I want, because everybody sees you here with a beautiful building and 4 kilns and all these businesses, but it was challenging. It was a lot of work, but if you're willing to do it, you can definitely get there.
Yeah, we're a big believer that nothing's free. Like we've invested a lot of money, and right now we're happy. Like it's happy when you take that investment, you take that chance, and it's paying back. Like again, we think generational. Like what can we do for the next generation? Like I'm happy right now, and we realize over the last 20 years, like we're heading in the right direction. Like we're pretty excited.
We're this industry is growing. You guys are a big part of it, setting up other stores. And if you have a passion for woodworking or retail, and you think that, hey, maybe I don't want a sawmill, I don't have the space for a kiln, but you think your area is good for bringing urban lumber, and we'll put in the contact information. Give Larry and his team a call. Jamie in the marketing department, she's awesome. It's
absolutely, like that's how we actually got started. And I always tell everybody, come on down. Like we are a big believer. Where when we first bought the first vacuum kiln, it was almost like this hidden secret. Nobody told you they had one because they had that we have that secret. Like, we're not going to tell everybody what we're doing. And right away we're like, hey, come check out what we do. We love what we do. And I don't believe there's any secrets out there. I don't believe everybody can do what we do. I mean, you had experience, you had passion, you had 5 kilns, you had the sander planer, you had the saws we have. We pieced that puzzle together, but we talk to everybody. Like we come on in, see what we do. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, which brings me, we are going to be hosting a spring event here. We're going to have a party here. We're going to invite people. We're going to walk around. We're going to look at stuff. If you guys have a passion for woodworking, this industry, furniture, learning about building brands, we're going to invite everybody. If you're in New England this spring, it's going to be a blast. We'll get the dates finalized. Follow along at iDRYwood.com under current events.
It's going to be awesome. I'm excited. Again, it's pretty cool. We tried to get a lot of people in here, whether they're the local schools, whether elementary, high school, trade schools, voc schools, colleges. We just had the New England Kiln Drying Association meeting here.
That was fun.
It's a blast because I always tell people, whether you have a 300,000 board foot kiln or a 1,000,000 board foot kiln or a 3,000 or 4,000 board foot We all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit different. We all want the same thing. We all want to make our wood stable. I believe we do it better.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And I think it's however you dry your lumber. If you are a person that takes care and actually wants to sell a good product to a consumer, once you start selling it to make money, if you do it the right way and if it's stable, that's how we elevate this industry of smaller and medium-sized mills. That's how we elevate urban lumber. Because it's the old saying, bad news travels like wildfire. If you get a good piece of wood and it doesn't move, there's nothing to talk about. If you buy something that does, then you're probably going to be scared off from not going to a retail store. And the decentralization and getting more urban lumber into people's homes is what we're trying to do here. That's the big picture.
The big picture. Like, keep local wood local.
Yep.
Buy local wood. Like, it's amazing. I always hear this fact, and it blows my mind. Only 3% of the wood used in the state of Massachusetts is from the state of Massachusetts. How is that even possible? Like, it doesn't make sense. I preach to everybody. I call a lot of people. If we get kept local wood local, let's use this urban wood. Let's put it back into our communities,
Into our homes.
into our homes.
I worked at an efficiency company in Vermont prior to coming here, and we spent so much focus on building homes tighter, making them more efficient, to lower energy costs and to reduce carbon. I really think that hopefully something happens where people start looking at the materials we actually build with and where that comes from.
And where it comes from.
If it's local, it means it didn't have to burn fuel to travel that far. If it's wood that would most likely end up in a landfill, it's so much stored carbon building homes. And if we could start introducing more products, it tells a story too. Like, it's cool. It looks cool. Look at this. I don't know anybody who wouldn't want this in their home. I'm going to take it with me today, I think.
Awesome. You can carry it out of here. You can have it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So, Larry, clearly you have bought into the iDRY brand since every one of your kilns is an iDRY. Tell me a bit about why you went the iDRY route over, conventional DH kilns, the other brands.
There's a whole list of reasons. Like, it's amazing. For one, I always say, like, fourth generation business, work extremely hard. Like, we are passionate. And I always say, like, iDRY, they're one of us. Like, they're one of the wood industry. I think the wood industry is the same across the board. You just don't jump into it because you're like, hey, this is a great idea. It's that passion that drives you. The guys at iDRY, you, Paul, Jim, Mark, Brian, like, you're one of us. Every time I call one of the guys, and I'm like, why are you so excited? Like, you only build kilns. Like, you're not doing what I do. Like, the wood is the exciting part. And you're like, no, we build kilns. This is what we do. And I was like, number one, you guys are one of us. Like, you're part of the industry. Two, it's made in America. Like, that is huge. I can call if I ever need anything. I get somebody on the phone and we have it. They're simple. They make sense. I mean, literally anybody that doesn't understand vacuum drying, like, to begin with, it's a little bit to get your head wrapped around it. But spend 20 minutes around here and you're like, wow, that makes sense. And that's all you have to do. So when my father first bought the first kiln, I knew zero about drying wood. Now you tell somebody, bring them to any kind of kiln, and you know zero about it, and you're going to start drying wood tomorrow, they're going to be like, you're crazy, it's not going to happen. These things, you can literally push a button and go. I might alter a little bit because that's my personality and what I do, but it's amazing. Like, you have taken all the experience that you need to dry different species out of it. The average person can literally press start and go. Again, I might change it a little bit depending, because we don't dry the normal thing here.
You're drying 4-inch, 5-inch thick.
5-inch thick. I mean, and we're drying wood from all over the world. We're drying ebony, sapele, sinker mahogany, I mean, oh,
Yeah.
EP, Logan, I mean, you name it, we've dried it. I mean, I've even dried hemp in these things.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And there's no, it took a long time. Jim, who you know and you're friends with, he grew up crawling around a vacuum kiln. Like his father brought one over in the 80s when who in their right mind brings a vacuum kiln over in the 80s? Kind of like you thought, why are you buying a vacuum kiln when you bought it? But Jim grew up around it, and we have a lot of years experience now with lumber drying and trying to make it easy. There's no silver bullet. Wood is weird. There's different, but as far as making it as easy as possible, we believe this is it. And we honor one of you, and we sell boxes that dry lumber, right? So us getting excited about that, once you know how wood dries, our excitement is your business and seeing guys like you succeed. Like that is what gets me going. If I got to get up and think, oh my God, I got to think about putting wood into a box and how it dries every day, I would go crazy. But when I walk into a Mill River slab work shop, or I see a table like this, and I see guys quitting their jobs and getting into this lumber business, which they have a passion for, that's what drives me.
It is crazy. And it's this passion that drives our market. Quick story about like how it started. Like when I first started drying wood, I was pressing start and going, and then in the way I'm not that fool in the China shop. Like this is too slow. Like I got to do something a little bit different. So I call Jim, the owner of iDRY, and I said, hey, I got some questions. I need you to come down here. I need you got to answer some questions. I understand it, but I don't understand why I can't go faster. And he literally was down the next day, and he spent some time with me, and literally was like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want? I'm like, I want to go faster, better, faster, quicker. And
that's your personality.
That's my personality. And Jim kind of laughed at me, and he's like, okay, let's see what we can do. And from there, it's become a great relationship.
Yeah, it's good. And I will say just one last plug. Everybody in this industry, the wood industry, down to earth guys, which makes sense. We're working with material like from nature. It's we're cutting wood. It's just, I've worked in some other industries, and this one is just everybody I'm always happy to speak with. The whole team at iDRY. I built relationships and friendships with our customers, because it's not just like you, it's not one sale. It's these kilns will run for 30, 40, we build them to last a lifetime, and we've had relationships that have lasted that long. Like how long have you known Jim and his family?
2008.
Yeah.
2008, my father bought the kiln. It got delivered in 2009, and that was the start of an unbelievable relationship.
Yeah.
In the industry. So it's crazy to think. And as a small business, and we have a small sum in aspects, but where we've come, where we've gone, where I've traveled to, and the people that have actually traveled here, like we're getting ebony from Africa. And I've had people from Africa come into this little town in western Massachusetts to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen. I mean, I've had luncheon with some of the top people in the musical instrument business, and I'm like, why do they even want to talk to me? All I'm literally doing is pulling water out of wood. Like this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And in dealing, like it's not a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer when you buy one of these.
Yeah. And we won't name the name of the company, but it was a great story. One of the companies, major guitar manufacturer, you probably have heard the brand, but they flew you out there. And weren't you in like the lobby or the retail shop?
Yeah.
Tell me that. I like that story.
It's a funny story. Like I walk in and do this little, I'm talking to the owner of the company, and he says, just go to the retail store and ask for me. I'm like, just ask for you? And he's like, yeah. So I walk into the retail store and I ask for the owner of the company by name, and the lady's like, are you sure he wants to see you? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, wait right here. So long story short, I meet with him, have a lunch with him, gives me a tour, and actually go out for dinner. The next day, he says to me, he goes, hey, stop at the retail store and grab something. So I walk back in there, and the same lady's there, and she calls me over. She goes, I got a question for you. Who are you and what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm Larry Lashway. I dry wood. That's what I do. And she's like, he says you can have whatever you want on him. She goes, that doesn't happen. I'm like, well, it's kind of a cool story.
Yeah.
And right then and there, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I would never have gotten that if it wasn't for the day my father bought this kiln.
I know.
That I didn't want.
Yeah.
And then Jim called me and said, hey, can you dry this stuff? And me being like, absolutely, let's go.
Yeah, I love that story.
Yeah.
Very cool. Small sawmill, middle of Massachusetts, and you're going all over the world drying crazy exotic stuff and doing it with iDRY vacuum kilns. It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty incredible. Great relationship.
Cool.
Thank
All
you
right.
for everything you guys do.
Hey, thank you for our relationship that
Yeah.
we keep. It's
I'm always amazed that obviously I'm like, these things should sell themselves. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, you should be just printing out orders. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. But I guess that's a good thing for me. People still hire me to dry them.
yeah, exactly.
Let me buy another kiln. Don't buy a kiln. Let me buy another kiln. Keep sitting in the hand.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
wrap it up. Cheers. Cheers. Another great whiskey and wood.